Hi everyone, this is Migs from PH, and today we'll be taking a look at the top 5 best basketball shoes of the first half of 2021, as well as the top 5 most disappointing shoes of the first half of 2021 as well. Before we get started, if you do like this video and these types of videos, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below. And if you have any comments, questions, or any suggestions for future videos, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below as well. Then I'll also be leaving a link to the SNBPH Sneaker Hunters Facebook group in the description box. So I do hope you can join us over there because that is a place where I talk about sneakers and basketball quite a bit. And it's also where I hold my monthly giveaways, as well as my steel cabinet where I sell some of my old sneakers or sneakers that I've reviewed for way under market value. And if you haven't already, I do hope you can sub to the channel because it really does help us out quite a lot. So with that out of the way, let's first take a look at the top 5 basketball shoes for the first half of 2021. For this list, I did cheat a little bit because I do have some shoes from late 2020, but I don't really think that's much of an issue because most of those shoes from late 2020 are still available on their sites now. So with that being said, I am gonna start with some runners up. So with the first runner up, we have the Adidas Dame 7. Doesn't have a particular weakness. I mean, the materials are nice and soft, the light strike cushion is really comfy, and the traction is really nice as well. The only reason it didn't crack the top 5 for me is that there are just 5 shoes that are better than this, but this is definitely also one of the better shoes of this year. Then for the last runner up, we have the Nike Cosmic Unity, and this shoe is actually really nice. You have that zoom strobel, which is super bouncy. You have that herringbone traction pattern, which is aggressive and sticks really well. Then you have a nice and soft upper, which is really surprising because it is made of recycled materials. And the only reason this isn't in the top 5 because I think the fit here around the ankle could have been better. And it is also a little heavy here at the heel because you do have a lot of extra foam. So now we'll be getting into the list, and starting off at number 5, we have the Curry 8. I actually don't have my pair of Curry 8s anymore because I sold them on the SNBPH steel cabinet, but that doesn't mean that the Curry 8 wasn't a beast on court, because it definitely was. The traction on the Curry 8 is one of the best you can get right now, and the cushion they used on the shoe is not something mind-blowing, but it definitely feels nice and light and provides a lot of impact protection. You also have a super comfy knit upper, and the only downside to the shoe is that if you are a heavier and shiftier player, you might find the upper to be a little too stretchy and not as supportive as some of the other shoes on the list. Then for the next shoe on the list at number 4, we have the Nike PG5. The Nike PG5 does have what I think is the best traction of 2021. I mean, it was to be expected because Nike essentially just copy-pasted the traction on the Kobe 9 to the Nike PG5. You have a full-length air strobel for the cushion, which is super soft and provides a lot of comfort. Then you also have a nice and secure fit and good support. The only reason the PG5 didn't crack the top 3 is that the materials are pretty plasticky, so I definitely feel like they could have done better on that, but the materials do get the job done, and in the end, that's the most important thing. Then for number 3, it's actually another shoe that I don't have with me right now, and that's the Nike KD14. I did sell it to my good friend Nico, and it's because I really wanted a different colorway, and I am just kind of waiting for a colorway that I like. The shoe is amazing though because the traction is super grippy. Then for the cushion, it's also one of the best because you have a full-length Cushlon midsole and a full-length zoom strobel unit, which is just super bouncy. The upper isn't the most premium feeling though, but it is quite soft, especially when it breaks in. And the only reason why it's at number 3 for me personally is that the strap just doesn't work on my foot. And even for other people, they do have a hard time keeping the strap down, so I definitely think we could have done without it. Overall, the KD14 is just an amazing shoe, and it's probably one of the best KD signature shoes to play in of all time. Then for the shoe in second place, we have the Nike Zoom GT Cut. The Nike Zoom GT Cut just reminds me so much of the Kobe 8, and in my opinion, the Kobe 8 was just so fun to play in back in the day, and with the Zoom GT Cut, it just gives me that same fun feeling. You have a pretty grippy outsole that seems really durable as well. Then for the cushion, I just really love what they did with the shoe because you have a full-length React drop in midsole, a full-length zoom strobel unit, and an extra bottom-loaded zoom unit in the heel just in case you needed it. The cushion is just super bouncy and comfy, and the best thing is you're still pretty low to the ground, and it honestly just feels super amazing underfoot because you feel super fast and you also feel super bouncy and springy. The upper is also really nice in my opinion because you have a lot of neoprene, which is nice and soft, and you also have a lot of this open-celled knit that really promotes a lot of airflow. It also fits super well on foot, and really the only reason it's not on number 1 is just that in terms of traction, number 1 definitely beats out this one. And in my opinion, the number 1 shoe of the first half of 2021 is the Puma Clyde All Pro. The Puma Clyde All Pro at first kinda looks like a pretty basic and unassuming shoe, and I personally thought that it was just an all-textile version of the Puma Clyde hardwood, but I was definitely way wrong on that because it is just such a beast of a shoe. The traction is super grippy both indoors and outdoors, then the Pro Foam Plus cushion that they used on the shoe just feels super smooth and really comfy, and it actually feels like a souped-up version of Nike's Lunar Lawn. Then for the materials, it isn't the most premium, but it is all textile, so it definitely needs no break-in time. And it also has that Matrix Evo technology, which means that even though the upper is comfy on your foot, pretty thin, and is pretty flexible, it's also really supportive. The fit is also great on the shoe, and just overall, the Puma Clyde All Pro in my opinion has no weakness. Of course, only time will tell because we do have 6 more months of 2021, so we'll wait and see if at the end of the year, this is still number 1. Then moving on to the next part, we have our top 5 disappointing shoes. And most of these shoes I actually don't have with me anymore because I uploaded them to the steel cabinet, and you can kinda guess why. So for number 5, it's actually a shoe that I still do have, and it's the Nike Lebron 18. I actually do like the shoe a lot because I like the materials, the cushion is insane, and the traction is pretty good. But it's just the tongue that they've used on all of the Lebron 18s, it's just really painful to use because it is so thin and is made of fuse. And for a shoe that retails at $225 US, that's just in my opinion unforgivable, and it's just such a disappointing thing, and it's just such a big bummer because otherwise the shoe is pretty nice. Then for the next shoe at number 4, we do have the Nike Carry 7, and just like the Lebron 18, it was actually a pretty good shoe because the Zoom Turbo was bouncy, the traction is really nice and durable. It's just that the materials and the upper of the shoe was just super cheap, and it also had some durability issues in my pair. My pair did show quite a lot of fraying after a few games, and it was just super disappointing that my shoe was kind of falling apart in some places after playing with it just a few times. They did fix the upper though on the Kyrie Low 4, so at least that's a positive. Then for number 3, we have the New Balance Kawhi. The New Balance Kawhi 2 is I think releasing pretty soon, but as of now, we still have the New Balance Kawhi 1, and that's definitely a shoe that was super disappointing because I had some major issues with the shoe. The traction was pretty durable though, and it worked well, and the fuel cell cushion was pretty nice. However, the shoe just fit super narrow and long, and the materials didn't stretch at all, so it definitely was a very painful experience because that upper just didn't have any give to it, and it also felt super stiff and cumbersome, and it's mostly because of that giant heel cup at the back, which added quite a bit of weight, especially on the backside. It just really wasn't any fun to play in, and it was such a disappointment because the New Balance Omnis 1 was one of my favorite shoes to play in last year. Then at number 2, we have the Anta KT6, and that shoe was just super duper stiff, and it was just so disappointing how they wrapped the whole midsole up to the toe with this hard plastic, and the upper on the shoe was also pretty excessively stiff, and it was just super hard to move around in the shoe, and it was just an absolute pain in the ass to test, and that's why it's at number 2. The good thing is though is that I've heard a lot of good things about the KT6 Low, and I will be trying to review a pair soon, so definitely fingers crossed on that one because I really hope that Anta redeems itself because the KT6 High was just a no-go for me. Then for the number 1 most disappointing shoe is the Harden Volume 5, and it just really sucks that the Harden Volume 5 was so bad because there was a Quicks collaboration, and I always really like supporting Filipino brands and Filipino collabs. I mean, I do have all of the Titan collabs on the Lebrons, and even though I really wanted to support that Quicks collab, it was on the Harden Volume 5, and I really just despise playing with that shoe on court. The shoe was so plasticky and stiff and just super rigid and hard to move in that nothing really worked in the shoe. I mean, you did have that boost and light strike combo on the midsole, but you really couldn't feel it at all. And then the traction seemed like it would work, but just because you couldn't flex in the shoe, you wouldn't get any grip. And then the upper was just plastic, and it was just the worst thing ever. So there you have it. The Harden Volume 5 was just the most disappointing shoe so far in the first half of 2021. So I'm just really hoping that it stays at number 1 and we don't have any more shoes for the rest of 2021 that'll top the Harden Volume 5. So there you have it, guys. Those were my top 5 best basketball shoes of the first half of 2021, as well as the top 5 most disappointing basketball shoes of the first half of 2021 as well. Once again, if you haven't already yet, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon for notifications. It would help us out a lot. Here's Sneaks and Ball, PH.